Davey, it's a special day for Davey. This is his last day, well, supposed to be his last day in the chamber, but unfortunately there are other plans afoot, and so he will probably be here tomorrow. But nonetheless, this is a very special day for me, and it's an honor for me to come up here and talk about Davey. For y'all who have just gotten elected, and for those who came in, if you remember in 2022, we had the honor of being elected as Speaker, and Davey had the honor of being elected as Majority Leader. And unfortunately for the body, I don't care how much preparation you receive when you get elected to these positions or how much knowledge you may have of this institution, you don't know what you're doing. And I can tell you that. And so it really was not a great fit for Davey and Merle to show up over here to be Majority Leader and Speaker, but we had to learn from each other and had to work together. And really what's happened is we grew to be very good friends, got to know each other personally, got to know the soul of Davey Hiott and know what a good, genuine person he was, and it was an honor for me to do that. Y'all know, you learn quickly from Davey. Davey was a man of faith and family, and those were his two most important things that he had in this world, and every time you talk about him, you realize what a genuine, good guy Davey Hiott is. Now, that was what a concern of mine was when he became Majority Leader. Is he too nice to do the job? Well, it took a little while. And then finally, I always knew about the upstate and how they act, and they were born of the textile mills, and that they had a different edge to them. And I really, for probably about within 3 or 4 weeks of us first starting session, I saw the old Pickens County redneck come out in him. And I'm gonna tell you, it's a sight to be seen. And Davey is not one that curses. And I am one that curses way too much. But I can tell you one thing, when you hear Davey say the F word, then something is going wrong. And unfortunately, there's some people around here that got him to say the F word every once in a while. Sorry to say that in front of your grandchildren, Davey. But let me tell you, Davey gave 22 years of service to this institution. Davey was someone who you could always count on that put the institution before himself. And he served this body so honorably, first as an agriculture chairman. I got to know Davey through that role when we were chairman together. I was at Ways and Means and Davey was at Ag. And you could tell his passion was for agriculture, for farming, for things that kept the resources, these beautiful resources that God has bestowed upon us in South Carolina, and he wanted to protect them. And he did a heck of a job over there, and I don't understand it, but he walked up to me and said, I don't want to be ag chairman anymore. I want to be majority leader. And I said, okay, and this was when I was transitioning in there. Next thing I know, Davey walked up and told me I got all the votes in the House, so I'm going to be your majority leader. So I am so glad he did. But the one thing that I most admire about Davey is he lives in Pickens County. Clemson is in Pickens County. Clemson football, Death Valley is in Pickens County. And Davey is a diehard Gamecock. And I can tell you, and the best thing about it a few years ago, 2 years ago when we beat Clemson, we beat Clemson over there, there were 3 people. We go to the Tiger tailgate, the presidential tailgate, which I'm sure many of you have gone to before, and there were 3 people wearing Gamecock colors, me, Davey, and Bruce Bannister. Everyone else chickened out and wore neutral colors. And so that shows you how he is. I've enjoyed Davey as being majority leader, and so if y'all ever watch this, I don't get to preside a lot. It's not by choice. Tommy Pope will always come up there and check on me, and then he starts pushing me out, and I get all these elbow bruises from him moving me out of the podium. And so this year, Davey decided to have the podium. And so I get the same thing. So I am getting it on both sides. Of both of them are fighting and trying to get the podium. But Davey loves the podium, and I love Davey having the podium. So you'll see when there's tough rulings, I say, Davey, get yourself up here. You're not getting reelected, so you make that ruling. But Davey has enjoyed every bit of this. And Davey, when you look back on this, and this is what's I think is probably most special about your service, Davey, is they tell me that when you came over here, your son was in 6th grade. And now he's up there in the lobby. Lander's up there in the lobby, and you've watched him grow as a man. You've watched him grow professionally. And the best thing about coming to Columbia, and the only thing he says is good about it, is he gets to go and spend time with Lander and his grandchild. So that is, he's got a wonderful family, his wife Lisa, who she also wore Gamecock colors when we were at the Clemson tailgate. His daughter Sally and her husband Neil, they're sitting over there. And then his beautiful grandchildren. You got Ruby Lynn and Mary Ann. That's Sally's children. And then you got Eloise, who is Lander's kid well, I was getting ready to introduce Catherine. Thank you.
Mr. Smith, do you have a point of order? It seems you're being interrupted before you finish.
Obviously, it's time for me to shut up. But before I do, Eloise is with Catherine, who is Lander's wife over there. So the beauty of this is Davey Hiott is leaving on his terms, not his constituents' terms. And so he leaves this place full of honor, full of friends. And Davey, it's been an honor for me to serve with you. And I wish you the best in retirement. And I hope sometimes when we get tough, we can bring the Pickens County redneck down here to kick some tails. So come on in.
Davey Hiott. Mr. Hiott is recognized on a higher motion.
Thank y'all very much. I really don't know. I got some notes here because I don't want to ramble on like some of our other members have. And so I'm going to stick to my notes, and Charles has got the clock running and all that kind of stuff. But these two guys, Blake, put up that, I'm going to skip around, go to the third one. Go to the next one. This is my freshman class, 2004. These are the only two that are left. We had, as you can see, we had some high rollers in there. We got some that think they're high rollers in there. We got some that want to be high rollers in there. But these are the two that are left that are the high rollers in there. They're my dear friends. And so thank y'all very much.
Yes,
thank you.
Yes,
thank
sir.
you. Thank you. Thank you. First off, I want to thank many people. I'm just here to thank a few folks today. First, I'll get to my family in a minute. First, I want to thank the ladies on the desk. I'm going to call them by name: Olivia, Dewana, Jan, Mary, Juanita, Rosalind, and Deborah. And then Charles, Bubba, Richard Pierce. I count him on the desk. He sits back over there in the corner. But I count him on the desk as well. You folks think you run this place? You don't run this place. This is the people that run this place. If you haven't noticed that or you haven't figured that out yet, you need to get in line. Because these are the folks that run this place. They make you look good or they make you look bad. And I give them a piece of chocolate every morning so that they will make me look good. And they've done a great job. Thank you, ladies. Mitch, where's Mitch? Thank you, you and your staff. I may be out of line, Mr. Speaker, but I'm going to do it anyway. I believe that Jeffrey's retiring this year, right? Aren't you retiring after 28 years after this session? Step up here. We need to thank you today. Matthew, I'm sorry. Matthew, step up here.
Davey, poor Jeffrey's out in the lobby wondering if he's getting his pink slip.
He's waving at me.
Jeffrey's getting fired.
I'm sorry I spoiled Mitch's surprise. I'm sorry. But we appreciate Mitch. We thank you for all you do. I mean, how many times have y'all carried us places, and you learn a lot about people when you're in the car with them. And we've learned a lot about security, and I've had a few questionable phone calls and text messages of people that didn't particularly like some things I was doing, and they even had to park a police car in the church parking lot right beside my house for a few days. So, but thank y'all very much. To the Blott staff, we show up every morning. We show up every morning, and that place is clean. Your trash is emptied. The bathrooms are clean. And not just once a year when the ladies fix the bathrooms for us during budget, but every single day. They're clean. So, Blott staff, thank you. Speaker staff, Steve Haley. Excuse me, my sinuses are kicking in. Steve Haley, Nicolette, Katie, Angelica, Mary Stella, Tavion, you're the best. Thank you. You're the best. I want to correct the speaker on how I got elected majority leader. He didn't tell you the whole story. He just told you the story he wanted to tell you. You see, I was chairman of the Ag Committee, and the best thing that I've done since I've been here in 22 years is I hired Ellie Hayes. Where's Ellie? She's the best. When I decided to leave decided to make a run for majority leader, I got elected. Thankfully for those folks that supported me, I appreciate that. I think. But I got elected, and they moved all my stuff up to the 5th floor. And so I walked into the office, and Charles Cannon was the executive director at the time. And I said, okay, Charles, who keeps my schedule? Who helps me with my phone calls? Who helps me with my text messages? And Charles says, you do. He says, you don't have it. He said, I'm not going to do it. I said, wait a minute. I left the Ag Committee where I had 3 full-time people in, all kinds of interns pages walking around, to this? He goes, yep, you did. So then I went to see Howard. I said, Howard, I'm a House member. I need an aide. And that's when Carla Schmidt came into my life. Thank you, Carla. You're the best. Let me tell you the real story how I got elected majority, or how I became majority leader. I decided to give it a try. Several members had said, hey, look, I think you'd be good for this. I think you'd be good for that. And so I went and told former Speaker Jay Lucas that. He was the speaker at the time, and I went and saw him one day, and I said, Jay, I think I'm going to put my name in the hat for majority leader. And he said, well, just go get the vote. He said, go see if you can get the votes and come back and bring me the commitment list, and I'll confirm it, and then we'll go from there. So I started on the process. I got the votes pretty quickly, went back to see Jay, went in his office. I said, Jay, I think I got the votes. Here's my commitment list. He goes, great, I'm resigning in the morning. And so Jay announced that he was not coming back the next morning after I told him. I said, did I run you out, or was this planned and you didn't tell me about it? And he said, no. He said, it was planned, and we know that Jay left us. And then enter Merle Smith. So I thought, okay, now I got to go tell this guy that's the chairman of the Ways and Means Committee. I asked Jay, I said, who do you think is going to be the next speaker? He said, well, it'll be Merle. I said, okay. So I went to Merle's office, and I verified this with the two other people that were in that meeting, okay? So I'm telling the truth. I verified it with them so I wouldn't be telling you something that wasn't the truth. I walked into Merle's office, and he got a million things going on. Obviously, he just got elected speaker, a million things going on, and I walked into his office, and I said, Speaker, I think I got the votes to be majority leader. He goes, you're not the guy I want. I verified that with the two other people that were in that room. And I said, well, what do we do? I said, you can go tell the caucus members that voted for me that I'm not going to be their majority leader. He goes, let's talk about it next week. So I thought about it. We went home on Thursday. It was a Thursday. I went home, came back on Tuesday, went back in his office, and he said, I think it'll work. We both got a lot of work to do. And we did. I don't necessarily know that was the first choice, but I hope I turned out to be the best choice. Let's talk about Merle and his leadership abilities. You know, I in this role, you spend a lot of time traveling with Merle and with Tommy, and if you can imagine being cooped up in a car, Mitch is driving, or Anna's driving, or somebody's driving, it's the three of us. He never gets off his phone. This one never shuts up. So I'm thinking, Mitch is fixing to put this thing in the ditch so that we'll have to get out of the car. But we made it somehow, right, Mitch? We did it a lot of times. We made it somehow. But it was a lot of fun traveling with you guys. I'll give you another quick story. Speaker and I went to Myrtle Beach to speak at an event together. We met here in Columbia, and we went and drove, and Mitch was driving, and we got down there and did the event. Got started back late. It was 10 o'clock later, leaving Myrtle Beach, and came back up the road, got to Florence, and we take the exit to Buc-ee's. And I'm thinking, okay, we're going to stop and go to the bathroom. That's a normal route. So we got out of the car, and I walked in, went and used the restroom, and come back out, and Merle's got a shopping basket. I'm thinking it's 11 o'clock. I got to drive back to Pickens. I got to get to Columbia first so I can drive back home. And Merle's in there with a shopping basket. And he said, and he was over there loading his basket with brisket sandwiches. And I said, Speaker, what are you doing? He said, my family will shoot me if I don't bring them brisket sandwiches. And so we bought, I don't know how many he bought, but he bought a bunch of brisket sandwiches. We got in the car. They smelled good all the way home. But at midnight, you don't particularly care about eating a brisket sandwich. You're just trying to get home. But he's a great leader. And you saw my freshman class. You know, we were a little bit different when we came in. We were told to sit down, shut up, and listen. And sometimes I think that might be good advice today, but that's not where we are today. But it was a great freshman class. We saw people that were going to change the world come in our class, right? Carl and Nathan. We saw people that were going to come in here and they were going to change the way we did things. As you can see, they're no longer with us. So usually their constituents got tired of that pretty quick. But Carl was a dear friend of mine. You know, when my mom died, Carl was the first one that reached out. When his son died, we went and participated in events for his son. He actually, believe it or not, he said the benediction at my daughter's wedding, and he blessed the food. That's how close we are. Nathan, He gave us roll call voting on the entire budget. No, Nathan was a good guy. We had something in common the day we got here. We both beat 12-year incumbents, and you and I were not very popular here when we got here, right? As you've been here a while, you know that 12-year incumbents are pretty set here. And Nathan and I both beat a 12-year incumbent to get here. And so we were kind of put in the corner like, oh, who are these two clowns? What do they think they're going to do? And so we kind of had that in common, and that bond kind of stayed with us through it all. I'm not going to take much longer. I want to thank my family. This is where I'll probably need the Kleenexes. Lisa, I love you. She's just let me do this for 22 years. Never complained. Never. Takes a special woman to do that. Blake, put the family picture back up there. This is the night I announced to run for office. That's the night we announced to run for office. And you can see Lander was more enthused than the rest of us because he enjoyed this stuff. My wife made me to make a promise to her. She said, if you get elected, no, she said, when you get elected, she says, I don't do parades. I don't do ribbon cuttings. I don't do groundbreakings. She said, you tell me when you need me to be there with you. And for 22 years, she's held up to that. She's never done a parade. And I say, I'm going to the parade. She never says, have a good time. She just says, see ya. She never offers to go. She's never done many groundbreakings. One or two have been something she kind of enjoyed. But she's always been by my side. And then Blake, put up that other picture. That's the very first day in the State House. You can see it's changed. Huh? Yeah. You can see it's really changed. And now, Blake, put up my family picture now. I'm a blessed man. And I really want to say this. I'll get through this. This place is not about you. When you get to thinking it's about you, you need to exit the doors. This place is about the 5.6 million people that you represent. I've seen a lot of people come through those doors that thought it was about them. And usually they're gone pretty quick. Because this place is not about you. You're here to make a difference. You're going to be replaced. As quick as Mitch can get the screwdriver to my nameplate, I'm going to be replaced. And I know that. And you are too. Somewhere, sometime. Hopefully no time soon. But one day they'll take your nameplate off and hand it to you. And they won't remember maybe my name. But what did I do to make South Carolina a better place? So I encourage you that you're here to make a difference. It's not about you. It's about the 5.6 million people in South Carolina that are depending on you. Don't ever forget that. Sometimes we forget that. But don't ever forget that, because it won't ever change as long as this place is in existence. Thank you, and God bless you.
Mr. Hiott.